Awesome. Well, my name is Kat Bujard, and I am working with Beyond Academics. I'm a graduate student in the SAHI, the Student Affairs program here at UNCG. And today I am interviewing Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I'm super glad to have them. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Yeah.
Should I?
Yes, I think you got on it.
How would you like for us to introduce ourselves? Just like name?
Yeah, name, major, senior, whatever.
All right, so I am Kalanji, also known as KB. I am a senior English major, and yeah, that's all.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Marcus. I am a senior kinesiology major, minor in music performance.
Very cool. Thank you.
My name is Edmund Gayton. I am a junior, double majoring in African American diaspora studies and political science with a concentration in pre-law.
Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you. I'm so glad to also be interviewing folks with like diverse backgrounds to kind of hear like maybe different perspectives. That'd be super cool to hear. All right, so I'm just going to get into my questions. You guys, however you want to answer them, like if one person wants to just be the point person, or like if you all want to like chip in and say something, because you have different, experiences of the organization, I would love to hear everyone's perspective. My first question is just really basic and broad. It's who is your organization for? So are there certain types of people that should join, or certain kinds of majors, or who is able to join your organization?
Y'all want me to get that?
Yeah.
Okay. So our organization, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, it's a fraternity that is meant for men, predominantly African American men. We are part of the NPHC, National Pan-Hellenic Council, which is composed of all fraternities and sororities that are predominantly African American based. Anyone who identifies as a guy or a male, they can join. We don't discriminate based off of your skin tone. And it doesn't matter your background. If you're political science, like whatever major you have, you can join.
Yeah. You guys have a lot of rich history, being like one of the original like Divine Nine. So any of that you guys want to like throw out there, like definitely interrupt me and share if you would like to.
Okay.
So yeah, anything else you want to add to that one, or did that one pretty much cover it?
Yeah, that pretty much, I mean, our brothers who have joined, we have a wide variety of famous people. Reverend Al Sharpton, John Lewis, even Bill Clinton. They're all members of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Whoa. I did not know about Bill Clinton. Okay.
Yeah, he's an honorary brother of ours.
Okay. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. So again, I know some of this might get tricky, and it also, we're kind of dealing with like online stuff now. So when and where does your organization meet? Like typically, but then also maybe like now with COVID, and like, where should students look for that information?
So all of our events and programs, usually we have them in person, but specifically for this year, we will have them online via Zoom. But you can follow us on Instagram at Rho Beta Sigmas, and that's where we post all of our flyers for different events that we have. Currently, we are doing a Bigger, Better Business program where we're going around Greensboro and supporting Black-owned businesses. So you can find us at certain businesses depending on the week that it is.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'll definitely put your Instagram handle in this so that students can kind of know where to go. Awesome. Let's see. Anything else you want to add to that?
I don't know. KB, Marcus, did I forget anything?
Mm-mm.
No, I
I think you covered it.
you did it fast too.
Yes, awesome. Very good. Um, so especially now, it's kind of nice because students don't have to have any like transportation or anything. They can just like open up their phone or their laptop. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of nice. So maybe speaking, I mean, obviously, like I know what Zoom is kind of like, but like in a normal year, like what kind of environment can students expect if they were to show up to like an initial like interest meeting?
The environment, honestly, it's you sense a brotherhood. I mean, you know, like we call each other brothers, but we actually are brothers, and we treat each other like a family. You know, we're not gonna sort of leave anyone excluded. If we see you, we're gonna speak to you and make sure that we take every effort that we can to make sure that you feel like you're welcomed in the space, regardless of where we're at.
Okay. Is there like a space on campus that you like tend to kind of hold these meetings? Like I again, like I know it just talking about like interest, like just like seeing who's out there kind of meetings. You know, in a normal like non-COVID year, are there like typical spaces that you go to hold meetings?
On a typical year, we're usually in Bryan, somewhere in the Bryan building, hosting our
Okay.
meetings.
Okay,
I think
great.
like going off of the meaning thing, like during the academic school year, it's kind of like during the traditional school year, at least, most organizations have like programming,
Hmm.
and most people show like interest through attending like the programming. And so, like, I mean, this year we kind of are on Zoom, but it'll kind of be like the same thing. In many cases, when people are interested, they just like show up to wherever the program is happening. So, yeah, I don't really think there's like I hope that I'm answering that. Like, it's not like a centralized location
Yeah.
for
Okay.
like interest. It's just like wherever we have events and stuff like that, people typically just show up.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like it depends on, you know, where you're doing something, if you're going someplace off campus or you know, holding some other kind of like interest kind of event.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
cool. Okay, thanks. All right. Um, like, are there any, I know this kind of sounds like a weird question, but like social norms or things that students should expect when they go in? So especially like if someone isn't like in your club or in your organization yet, like if they haven't been officially like what's the word I'm looking for, anyway, if they are just still interested and they want to know more and they're not officially in as a brother, what are some things that like students should know? Like, is there a dress code? Is there like something to be aware of?
Hmm. I'd say like the biggest social norm would be to remember that we are humans and that we're just people. So don't necessarily be intimidated. I think that's a big stigma around Black fraternities and sororities, is that you have to, you know, be timid and act a certain way. For us, you know, just remember that we're humans and sort of treat us that way. Don't you like try to tread lightly or try to act differently to appease us. You know, we want to know like the authentic you. So like, I know, like for me personally, like that's, and you know, KB and Marcus, they can speak on that too. But like that's my biggest thing is like, you know, don't be what you're not. Just come as who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like there's really nothing to like. Okay, just for clarification purposes, are you speaking in terms of someone who is interested in joining, or like just in general?
Yeah, I mean, I guess someone that's interested in joining, because I'm sure that like there's some folks like that are like kind of out there on the edge that are
Mhm.
like, man, like I want to know more, but I don't know how to know more, and maybe I do feel intimidated. In fact, I think I asked that question like later, like, what would you say to someone that's intimidated? And we can talk about that now if you want to. But yeah, so someone who's interested in joining and in pledging.
I would basically just say like there are like a lot of, well, not a lot, you know, there are nine, but if you're interested in joining like a D9 organization, I would say just like do your research. That's probably the most important thing. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say there's a politic around like how you should look or how you should dress or like how you should be per se.
Mhm.
Um, I think like organizations are like trying to move away from that. And personally, I don't really know why you would want to join an organization that makes you want to like forfeit your identity. So definitely like be who you are. And I feel like definitely do your research because it is a commitment. It is an investment of so many things that you invest into like the process. So I would just say like, do your research. And as far as the intimidation thing goes, I think going back to what Edmund said, like at one point we were all interested and we weren't actually in the organization. And I think like the best thing to do is just to like understand that like you're still dealing with like people who are humans. There is like a lot of mystery around like different Greek organizations. It's crazy because like me and Edmund were actually just talking about this last night. Um,
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's like resurfacing, but definitely just like approach it like how you would approach anything else in my opinion. Like it's not a matter of like trying to become or trying to like fit a standard, especially when it comes to Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, because um we have like this saying where we kind of pride ourselves in like the inclusive we instead of the exclusive we. So like brothers look different, we act different, we come from different walks of life, but it's still like a brotherhood. And I
Mhm.
think that that should bring people comfort in when they do express interest because you're not being judged on like who you are or anything like that. It's just more so um, putting in the work and the steps to actually become a member. And yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, no, I think you really did. You both expressed it really well, and I appreciate that. And like, I think students would feel comfort in knowing that. So thank you. Yeah, and I think that's some of like what this space is for is kind of like like demystifying to a certain extent like some of these like like all fraternities only let in these types of people or something like that. I think that's um, really helpful to know. Um, okay, so again, I interviewed a lot of different organizations, so the answers to this one were all over the place. Again, I understand if you can't tell me exact things. I
Mhm.
understand. Just let me know. But I asked, does it cost anything to join your organization or to be an active member?
Yes, there is a cost for
Mhm.
being an active member.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Um, how welcoming is your organization to new people or folks that maybe don't know anything about like fraternity life?
I would say that we're very welcoming. I still remember like when I first joined, a lot of the alumni brothers who have graduated and moved on, they came back to our new member presentation, and they were extremely welcoming to me and my line brothers. They were all very loving, and gave us their numbers and made a real effort to make sure that we felt a part of the brotherhood. And I know that like I tried to do my same when KB and Marcus joined. Make sure I could make myself super available to them, let them know like, hey, I'm here for you. No matter what you need. Literally, I tell KB all the time, it could be 2 a.m. If you call me, I'll be there as quick as I can get.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Anything else y'all want to add?
Well, the question was how welcoming is the organization?
Mm-hmm. Would you say how welcoming in your experience?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I do think that like our organization is like really welcoming. I think that everything is kind of like a process and it's almost like what you make it. So definitely make yourself available or receptive to the welcoming, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I feel like I don't know how to say this. Like I definitely think not to like make anybody nervous. Like where it's definitely a welcoming kind of situation, but I think like when you come into these spaces, you have to kind of make yourself open to being welcome. Because I know a lot of people, going back to like the last question,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of come into these spaces with like different preconceptions or like different notions of what it may be, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of literally immediately makes you feel like there's this wall, like, oh, I'm nervous, or I don't know how to be or what I should be. And I would just kind of like advise against that. I think come as your most authentic self, and invite that kind of welcoming in. And if you don't feel comfortable, or if you don't receive the welcome the way that you should, then it probably isn't the space for you when you are choosing to like commit to organizations such as like a fraternity or sorority, because it's like a lifelong commitment. So
Yeah.
yeah, be
Yeah.
be mindful and be intentional, definitely.
Mm.
Mm.
I like that. So I think what I hear you say is, that it's also about you and the
Mm-hmm,
way that you're coming into the space.
mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything, Marcus? Or
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to kind of speak from my experience. So initially coming into the organization, I know from like my experience of initially coming in, I was pretty nervous to want to get connected to other brothers within the organization and different alumni brothers across the board. But I did manage to meet a lot of brothers who are a part of this organization who are very welcoming and very willing to want to reach out to me and get to know me and just to get to know different things about myself as a person. And so that, allowed me to feel comfortable and, just, I guess it also helped me to be willing to reach out to other brothers as well, just because, I just wasn't initially like, oh, like I want to meet, like, or I don't know how to go about things when it came to wanting to meet other brothers in the organization. But I would say because there were brothers who were already in the organization established and they helped me to feel welcome, it kind of helped me to move in the direction where I can do the same thing with other brothers who were already in the organization.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would help to like come with a friend or like come with someone you know?
So that is also my experience as well. Kalanji has been my friend since we both were Sigmas and we actually crossed within the same semester, which was spring 20. So that's my line brother. So it did help a lot to have someone like him by my side through the process. So
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Um, I think we kind of already touched on this, so I'll just repeat the question and repeat what I think I heard you guys say, but definitely add to it if I get it wrong. Um, so how does your organization market or advertise to students or potential, potential members? I heard you guys talk about Instagram. Is there any other place that students should look? I don't know if you guys use like Spartan Connect very often or just like is an email chain or listserv or something like that?
Mm, I'm not really, hmm, like I, as far as like events and stuff go, like that's what you're speaking of, right? Like how can people get involved
Yeah.
more? Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like yeah, all of the normal means of like advertising different events on campus are kind of like what we use. So, um, Spartan Connect, definitely Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and flyers in general. Like, I think we do a lot of Instagram though, just because like so many people use Instagram and it's easy to like share and get the word out. Um, but yeah, I think all of like the traditional means of like, putting the message out is kind of how we go about doing it.
Mhm.
Nothing too fancy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would say most of the organizations that I talked to this summer, like all have an Instagram page. So that seems pretty like par for the course. Um, how do you guys expect for students to get involved with and engage in your organization? Like if students are really interested in joining, like what do you kind of what do you expect to see from them, or what do you hope to see?
so I would hope and would like for them to be encouraged to want to do research from like our national website of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated,
Mhm.
just so they're not walking into something blindly, like to have interest in the organization, not necessarily know what it represents and what it's about. I think it would help a lot if they do some research and kind of be informed on some of the basic things that they can find on the internet about our fraternity, just so that they're not, walking into anything blindly, but they have a concept or some idea of what we represent, even if it's not fully in depth.
Okay. Yeah, to have some kind of prior knowledge.
Mhm.
Um, I think like a certain level of engagement would be nice. So like whenever people who are interested do see that like Sigma is hosting different events or having events on campus, I think it'll be cool to like come and kind of get a feel for like the brotherhood in action because like I mean we'll be there too. So you can kind of get a feel for like how we are amongst each other. You can ask questions. You can kind of like interact and engage. You can kind of see like our pillars being put into action because we pride ourselves in like brotherhood, scholarship, and service. So having those like at the forefront of like different programs and different initiatives is really really cool. And essentially, like it also gives people who are interested more room to kind of get a feel for the organization to kind of solidify like, hey, I really want to be a part of this, or hey, it's probably not what I expected. And so, whatever, just being able to like have the option to actually be a part is cool. So I think that a certain level of engagement is expected from my end. I think from everybody. I just think it makes the most sense, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. So
Yeah, definitely. Anything else you wanted to say, Edmund? Are you good?
probably do something.
I think they got most of it. So
Yeah.
reiterating what Marcus said, like, no, some things coming into it. One of the biggest things that I do find is that like some people get us, like they think that we're sort of like the same when it comes to like all fraternities, we're all individual, we're all great in our own ways. So sort of like know stuff about us specifically. Um, yeah, that's really all I got to add.
Yeah, don't get your facts confused or mixed. uh, yeah. Okay, cool. Um, this is probably an obvious answer, but I'll ask it. An obvious question. Does your organization socialize outside of organization meetings, and if so, how?
Hmm.
All day, every day. Well, I mean, honestly, it depends. I see Solange like every day. I talk to a lot of my brothers like all the time. So like, we definitely socialize a lot outside. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you're not just joining an organization, you're joining a family.
Yeah, yeah. And this, like what you just said too, just goes right into like my next question. Like, are you guys friends outside of the organization? And it sounds like more than that is maybe what you might say.
Mm, yeah. Um, I agree. I'm sorry. I think that like I mean, if I'm being completely honest and transparent, like it is definitely a family, and with families you have high points and you have like low points, you know what I mean? And so like I mean, if you're being real, like don't expect like a fairy tale. Like you're gonna have to work through things. You're gonna have to like be open and receptive to like other people's perspectives and mindsets and like how people operate. But I do think that that's like the beauty in it all because you kind of learn how to bond and how to work together across differences, which is like really important. So sometimes I may love you one minute and you may get on my last nerve the next minute, and that's okay because I mean it is what it is. I feel like that's like at the center of that is like a lot of growth and a lot of learning, and I think that's also what makes like brotherhood so unique and so special. So um yeah, like definitely expect something that resembles a family and everything that comes with family. So the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your honesty. And I think that's kind of like what the space, what I hoped would be for, even though I know I'm a stranger who you may never see again. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I think the honest truth is, just like with any relationship, like there's good parts and bad parts. And it's important to not skip over the fact that there's going to be hard days.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Um, no, I think KB pretty much took it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm going to kind of skip over the friends part because I think you guys pretty loud and clear told me yes. How, and then this is really important, I think, too, because I think a lot of times when I ask this question, a lot of organizations are like, I don't know, but I feel like you guys would have an answer for this. How can students remain connected after graduation? Like if they joined and they were members of your fraternity, how could they remain connected after UNCG?
Um, I mean, I think that like the organization kind of makes it easy. Well, just because like of course you can always like sponsor your chapter and like go back to your undergrad chapter and support. But we also have like grad chapters. So after you graduate, you kind of go to wherever you are located, you kind of join your local graduate chapter. And through that, you're able to still like be involved in all things like related to your organization. Well, specifically in my case, all things related to like Sigma. So you'll still be able to have like hands-on experience. You'll still be able to like get involved in the community. You'll still be able to like be connected to where you came from. It's not really that hard actually to remain involved. It's just a matter of a willingness to want to remain involved. But I think for the most part, the organization makes it very easy to like stay in touch. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the beauty of Greek life is that there is that opportunity. Whereas like something like, no, don't mean anything bad about like soccer club or like, basketball or whatever, I mean, those are great clubs, but a lot of times it's just like a hobby for the time that you're there. Right. And then when you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
But this is more than that.
Mhm.
Anything else you guys want to add?
So just a little bit. Just so like our experiences currently. Some of our like our alumni brothers who crossed and the chapter we're currently a part of, they managed to keep in touch with our organization and our chapter like through social media. So whenever they see that we're promoting businesses within the area of Greensboro, they try and make it a goal or in this like I guess a priority to be there and support as well. And so they still have their hand in wanting to be a part of like our programs and things that we promote on our social media page. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Like now with everything being so digital and virtual, like it's maybe an even better opportunity for you know, folks to come out and still support what you're doing. Great. Um, okay, so again, like tell me what you can, don't tell me what you can't, obviously. But any kind of like mission statement or values and traditions that you could share that maybe might like really hit home for students or somebody like might really identify with.
I say just like three important ones: brotherhood, education, and service. Those are the three main things that mean a lot to us. Um, yeah, without getting into too much detail, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I agree. And like, it's kind of like printed all over the website, so it's okay to say this. But like, in the fraternity, once again, and I said it earlier, we like pride ourselves on the inclusive we rather than the exclusive we. So I really do think that like, if people were interested, just know that like we do welcome differences and stuff like that. I mean, as long as you're not harming nobody or you ain't being too crazy with how you feel about whatever, um, then I feel like we'll definitely be able to like welcome like more people. And that's another thing too that I feel like a lot of times people have this misconception like, oh, it's so like organizations are so exclusive, but like the organization is nothing without members. So we definitely want members. Like we do want to be able to like connect with more people, and we definitely want to be able to like bring more people into the organization. So just keep in mind that like, you know, inclusivity is at the heart of like everything we do. Um, especially as a chapter, you know, because chapters, even though we all like belong to the same organization, the cultures of chapters can vary, you know.
Mhm.
So Rho Beta is definitely inclusive. There is a little bit of everything in this chapter. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you are interested, like definitely come out and make it known so that, you know, we can make it do what it do. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you kind of went ahead and touched on my next question that was just about like how important is diversity to your organization? And what I hear is like very important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's necessary. So yeah, like I mean, definitely. So I think so at least.
Hmm. Awesome. So this one might be kind of obscure, but just does your organization connect in any way to academic or career skills? And if so, how?
Hmm. So yeah, definitely. Like we have a well, first of all, as far as like career readiness goes, like going back to like what Edmund was talking about earlier, well, just in general, like I mean, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, like we're a fraternity, but the Incorporated, it's like it's a business too. So like with that being said, like I feel like as far as career readiness goes, you have brothers from all walks of life doing different things. Literally, like I mean, you got doctors, lawyers, teachers, you got retail workers, you got everything you can think of. Political activists, like whatever you can think of, and this is across like all organizations. So, um, yeah, I feel like with career readiness, just being able to like kind of call on other brothers and have like that counsel and that advice when needed. Being able to like attend different workshops, you know, or not even workshops, but like events within the fraternity, which are they kind of model workshops. Maybe that's why I call it a workshop. But yeah, being able to like attend like the different events and stuff like that and have like different brothers speak and kind of learn about like what they're involved with. Um, I think that's really, I mean, it aligns with like the career readiness. And then as far as academic success, definitely there is like a GPA requirement. I'm not sure what it is. So, I mean, you have to keep your grades up. And again, going back to what Edmund said, we pride ourselves in brotherhood, scholarship, and service. So it is important that you like stay on top of your academics just because, yeah, that's like kind of why we're here. So definitely, it aligns, in my opinion, perfectly. So
Yeah, definitely. And that's honestly like what I like to hear when organizations talk to me because I think a lot of times students can get so involved in what they're doing that they kind of forget about those connections, but it's definitely there. And especially for something such as your fraternity, I think, you know, it's definitely more apparent and just I think a way to sort of kind of advertise and market yourself. Like, look at these great things that I've done and my affiliations. I think it's really important to sort of know the ways in which you can do that. Um,
and also like to add on, for context, like a lot of like DNOW organizations, at least the earlier ones, we know that they were kind of like created during a time of like high racial tension. And it kind of made it hard for like African Americans specifically to have any like sort of opportunity. And
mhm.
so like essentially like having these fraternities and these D9 sororities and fraternities, they were kind of created with the idea of community in mind. And so like streamlining opportunity and like helping one another to kind of come out of circumstance, but also to kind of build one another up and to kind of help mobilize so that you can get to where you want to be within like your career, within life in general. It's kind of like it's it's not even just a thing, it's almost like engraved in the culture. Like it's just a culture of like being able to help one another and like serve one another. So I think it goes without being said that like that is a integral part of why the fraternity is even a thing. You know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because like the historical reference um, shouldn't be lost on like new incoming students, right? Like, you know, I'm sure that you want them to know like where you've come from. And then of course like the framework of like how it fits in today, you know, we're not that far removed. And I think this, you know, you guys are really important in this. And so when Marcus reached out, I was like, yes, please, I would love to interview you. So yeah, no, I really appreciate that you brought that up. Um, Anything else you want to share around that or anything else we've said?
Oh, all right. I don't have anything to add, but pertaining to the question that was asked about the careers and things like that, KB did speak to something that I didn't initially realize. Like even with the brothers that are alumni now, there is like diversity within the careers that they have like pursued. Like we do have brothers who are doctors, teachers, and things like that, and so it's always access to be able to get connected to brothers if it is aligned with what we may desire to pursue career wise. And so like
Definitely.
we just had a brother who got their MD and became a doctor, and so that's something that I myself am looking to do one day. And so, you know, I always have access to be able to get connected to them and be able to give that, you know, advice or anything that'll help me to be able to follow that same path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, I think that's my last question. Is there anything that I should have asked or something that you feel like we didn't talk about that's really important um, to your fraternity?
Mm, No, I think you have really good questions. I think it kind of like covered it all, honestly. Like, especially like just for like general interest and like,
Mhm.
I think that like, I think you did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you guys for being willing to meet with me. You know, I wouldn't know anything without being able to talk to you. um, So yeah, I again, I just want to say thank you to Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, to you and all your brothers, and yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you all have a great, safe rest of your semesters and years here. And yeah, and if you need anything from me, I know that you know, you may not ever need anything, but I'm a contact in the Bryan School as an academic advising assistant. So let me know if there's ever anything I can do for you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for your time. I'll follow up. I'll definitely give you this interview. So if you want it for something, if you have someone who's into tech stuff and can chop it up and like make it beautiful and you want that, take it and make it yours. But otherwise, I'm going to just like trim it down a little bit, make it pretty-ish. I'm not great, but I'll definitely give you anything I have. So, you know, let me know if you need anything.
All right, cool.
I
Thank you
will.
so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care, y'all.
You too. Bye.
Bye.